Protests have again broken out in Lebanon as the currency continues its downward spiral. The sharp depreciation of the Lebanese pound is having a negative impact on the value of people's income, while prices of imported goods are rising. And the most important of those may be fuel. Imogen Kimber reports.
A so-called day of rage in Lebanon. Protesters block roads up and down the country as yet another price hike on fuel pushes the cost of a tank of petrol higher than the monthly minimum wage.
The rise in the exchange rate against the US dollar makes our salary worth $25. We can't afford bread, food, nor even a bottle of water. We have to make a living for our families. What should we do? Shall we steal? Neither the state nor anyone is looking after us.
The transport union organised the protest. They say the price rises make their work nearly impossible. If they push their own prices up, most people simply won't be able to afford them, as more than 70% now live in poverty.
There are 120 MPs. If they had a conscience, they would have resigned. We are hungry. We have no money to eat. I swear we will hold them accountable.
Fuel importers say that as the local currency reduces in value, they have no choice but to raise the cost of petrol, as they need to pay the suppliers in dollars.
Our protest speaks on behalf of every Lebanese citizen during this difficult situation in the country. The rise in the exchange rate of the Lebanese pound against the US dollar caused very big problems. It made all citizens poor. Citizens can't afford to fill up with the fuel anymore. Where are we heading?
Also contributing to the price rise is the end of the government subsidy. As a result, reports say that fuel consumption has already reduced by 50% since September, and it may continue to drop with this latest increase. While this protest is over for now, the head of the transport union warns the government that they will not give up, and there will be more to come if there is no action over rising petrol prices. Imogen Kimber, TRT World, Beirut.
Well, for more on this story, let's go to Sami Nader in Beirut. He's the director of the Levant Institute for Strategic Affairs. Welcome back to the program, Sami. As we heard there, the Lebanese pound is continuing its downward spiral, but in tandem with that, we've also got the increase of everyday goods, imported goods, including fuel. Can you just give us a better idea of just how bad the economic situation is there on the ground?
Yeah, some indicators, are very telling. Like, for instance, the average salary or the minimum salary is less than $20 per month, meaning that less than $1.5 per day. The lira, the Lebanese pound, has lost 200% of its value, and the inflation hit 3 digits compared to last year. This is to tell you, the deep economic and social crisis. It started with a financial crisis, turned into an economic crisis, and here we're about to see a social explosion. So it's the very existence of the Lebanese society today. It is at stake. Just another example: a judge earns something like $150 per month. How can we fight corruption with such a poor salary? The Lebanese soldier is at $30 per month. This put at stake the security of Lebanon. So, and the main reason why we're going into this spiral is nothing, absolutely nothing is done to stop the crisis. The government did not convene for the last 2 months. How on earth can we fix Lebanon's problem if the government is not convening? Now they are talking about a budget, and they are saying that they are going to negotiate with the IMF, and up to now we're not seeing the government plan on the basis of which they will negotiate with the IMF. They are about to release a budget while they don't have yet ready their plan. And in which country of the world the budget come after the plan. So there is a total chaos. And in my view, this is maybe is done on purpose, because they do know, the prevailing political forces, that they are about to take drastic measures that will hurt, and they are not ready to do it before the election that are scheduled in like 3 or 4 months. And this will leave Lebanon in a very dear situation, where every day the crisis is deepening and things are getting worse.
Yes, can I ask you more about the government response, or the lack of response in this case? Because we know that a new cabinet was formed last September, which promised to start fixing the dire economic situation, which really began back in 2019. And as you say, it seems that this cabinet hasn't met for some 2 to 3 months. So tell us more about why you think they're really delaying action here. Why haven't they even met to discuss the worsening crisis?
First of all, it seemed that, there are divisions inside this government. One part, those who have the upper hand, in my view, they have more a regional agenda than a domestic agenda. And here I'm talking of Hezbollah, who has the upper hand inside the government. And here, Lebanon is being used as a bargaining tool on the Vienna negotiations table. And that is to say, their priorities seems to be more related to what's happening on the region, on the negotiation, than what's happening on the ground. This is on one hand. On the other hand, there is a real division on who will bear the cost of the crisis. We're talking here about $70 billion as the cost of the crisis. How this will be distributed among the shareholders, how much will be the share of the banks, how much will be the share of the taxpayer, and how much will be the share of the central bank. And this is one core issue upon which those present in the government that represent different and diverging interests did not agree upon. So as the result, the few measures are taken between the chief of the cabinet and the central bank governor without referring to other stakeholders. There are, it seems, negotiations with the IMF. These negotiations, to be effective, to be fair, to be sustainable, has to include all the stakeholders, beginning with the depositors' representatives, the representative of the private sector, the productive sectors, the representative of the union and the syndicate, and none of this is happening. And the few measures that are taken, in very closed door, and not according to best practices, not according to what should be done in order to get Lebanon out of this crisis. So in a nutshell, political division, regional priorities, and total incoherence and disunion inside this government.
Okay, Sami Nader in Beirut, thank you as always for shedding some much needed light on the economic situation there. We appreciate it.